On 6th of December 2022, I really didn't have any idea what was going to happen with me, and it was one of the most memorable days of my whole life. So I got up at 6 a.m., got ready, took my breakfast, and then I went to the college. And little did I know that what was going to happen, because I was all set for the interview of Reliance. So Reliance Industries came up with the new energy recruitment. So new energy is one of the new businesses, new plans of Reliance. For that, it came to the recruitment of MTechs and PhDs of various domains like chemical, mechanical, and then polymer, material, electrical. So for the chemical, the profiles that were open were polysilicon, ingot and wafer, solar cells, and battery. So these were what we need to apply. So my chemical engineering batch was of around 17 people. Out of the 17 people, 7 were shortlisted, and Reliance wanted only 1 or 2 to be selected. So that's for the case of MTech Chemical Engineering only at IIT Delhi. So at IIT Delhi, Reliance came at 6th December, and the interviews were to be placed at from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And for the chemical people, it ended up before lunch, so till 1 o'clock. So 11 to 1 it went, because 7 people were only there, and the profiles were actually shortlisted at around 10:45. The list came, and when I saw that, so Reliance shortlisted 4 people on the basis of their CV or any of their academic skills or their CGPA, and rest 3 were shortlisted of the chemical engineering MTechs were shortlisted on the basis of the project. So whatever the project was relevant to solar cells or battery or something. So Reliance came for the solar project. So basically they are actually building up a new plant on the new energy domain. It's a new energy initiative from Reliance that they have also mentioned in the AGM, annual general body meeting, and they wanted to actually produce this electricity from the solar cell system. So solar cell is one of the giga cell factories that Reliance is going to set up. I will talk about the Reliance whole project and new energy initiatives in a separate video. But till then, what you can see is that it came for the solar domain, and the profiles were polysilicon, ingot and wafer, solar cells, and battery. So my interview was around at 12:45, and it went till 1:30. So 1:30, so around it was 45 minutes, and because the shortlist list was in alphabetical order, so I was S. So I was at the last. So my interview was at the last at 45 minutes interview, and rest people, their interview went around 15 to 20 minutes. So there were 27 people in all that were shortlisted from MTech Chemical. So now let's move on to the questions. So what questions they asked, what was my reply, because that is one of the most important thing that would actually help you, and even you can even have a feel how the interview is conducted, and what are the questions, what are the different parameters that you need to focus, and how my replies got me placed at Reliance. So in the beginning, like in every interview, I walked into the room, the interview cubicle, it was created, and in that a senior recruiter was there. So the sir asked me to sit down, and first he went through the HR form that I had to fill, and he went through the form and he looked at some of the things just to know me a bit, because also I was the last one to be interviewed. So it was, and my interviews, trust me, it was more of an interactive session rather than just an interview. So coming to the questions, so first thing he tell me to introduce myself, and what I said is that good afternoon sir, my name is Sarthak Roy, and I am currently pursuing the chemical engineering here at IIT Delhi, and also I am department rank 1, which I am actually, don't worry. So I was the department rank 1, and I had completed my BTech in chemical engineering from USCT GGSIBU Delhi, and I am very excited about the Reliance New Energy Initiative and the 4 gigafactories that are to be set up to produce 100 gigawatt till 2030. Yes, so a pause here. So basically Reliance is going to set up the gigafactory, 4 gigafactories. First is the solar cell, the battery, then the hydrolysis and the fuel cell. One of them is the solar cell, and it will produce 100 gigawatt till 2030. That's a very short time. Yeah. So net carbon emission zero is one of the thing that it is bringing in to get rid of the carbon, and that's why the solar cell will help us to generate electricity. So in coming back to the questions, so I told in my introduction that I was very excited about Reliance New Energy initiative and the whole project, and it would be a very learning opportunity for me if I get to know how the polysilicon is converted to ingots and wafers, and then to the cells and to the modules, and how all of this is integrated in a combined solar plant. So that is one of the things that I mentioned in the introduction, that I want to even know how the plan would work, and I'm really interested and excited about this, the Dhirubhai Ambani Giga Complex that is to be set up for the solar development and for rest other factories. So I told him about that I did my internship in GAIL Pata Auraiya plant in the gas processing unit, and I've also interned at IIT Bombay and IICHE, and also in my adsorption lab at USCT GJSIPU. Then I finally told him that my hobbies were clay modeling, cartooning, and also I got a first prize in both of them. So this is where the introduction was there. And I also added in my introduction that I have a YouTube channel of chemical engineering based, with around 3,000 subscribers plus 3,000 plus subscribers. Please subscribe, please. Don't you are watching without subscribing, please subscribe. It's just a single click. Anyways, coming back to the video. So I also mentioned that I am also an investor in the Reliance stocks, BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange, and I've also invested in the stocks of Reliance. And I was also the speaker and instructor at ICT Mumbai AICT chapter. So that all these things really mattered in the introduction, because I set it up already so that I knew that what he was going to ask me first and what next. So overall, from the introduction itself, I built the whole flow pattern for the recruiter to ask me questions about. So first, and also I mentioned that how much I was interested in Reliance, how much I was interested in the new energy domain, and how everything is just making me excited about the whole project of Reliance. So then so he asked me about the introduction itself, that okay, you told you did an internship, so tell about your internship. You did the speaker and instructor at ICT Mumbai, so tell about them. So these were just the small questions. But coming to the main questions, he also asked, okay, in HR questions, he also asked that what does your parents do? So I told my parent is in a government job and mom's a teacher. And also he asked me about what was your MTech project. So MTech project is one of the main things in the whole MTech career. And so the project is one of the crucial things. So he asked me about the MTech project, where I explained him about my MTech project, the main project of the catalysis reactions, of dehydrations, solvent effects, and then I explained about the minor projects as well. So these were quite a few questions. Then he asked, just out of curiosity, that if because one of our professors were in touch with him, so he asked me about Sonde sir, who had been at Thermax. So he asked me about him. So I told him that I had actually took a course under Sonde sir of the chemical engineering commercialization applications. I explained him a bit what I got from the course and how it helped me to know. I also told him that there are so many solar panels at IIT Delhi's rooftop. So everything here is also coming towards solar. So it's kind of a right time that Reliance is going to set up this industry, so that we don't have to import the solar cells from the foreign countries. We can make them here itself from the start till the end. So then he moved to the BTech project, and I explained the biodiesel production, because that was my BTech project, biodiesel production from waste vegetable oil and methanol, supercritical methanol. That was my project. I explained what the process is, the basic process. So you don't have to go into the very detail, just explain the basic processes, what you did actually. Just tell them in the interview what you did. So what I did is I first made a simulation in that project, a process simulation, and then I actually designed the reactor, designed the heat exchanger, and also then I did the cost analysis on the basis of a Brazilian report to get the capex and opex estimates for that project. So everything should be clear to you, but you don't have to go into the depth of it. Just explain them what you did and what was the project about. Then he asked me about the DWCM course or the interactive session at ICT Mumbai. So at ICT Mumbai, I presented as a speaker, I presented there the different concepts of DWSIM and process simulation concepts, basic concepts, which he asked me what you actually do, what the DWSIM is, and all these questions were asked, which I told him. And then he asked me that if I have ever managed a team. So I told him that at Azeotropi, IIT Bombay Fest, not Fest, but you can say symposium type of. So at Azeotropi and also in VIT Vellore, I had been and I have managed a team of 4, and I have also won competitions there. And also, one of my traits is that I give a particular task or a specific task to a specific person, so that I know what this person's abilities. So using the person's ability is one of the things. So I don't give a random task to a random person in the team. I give a specific task according to the person's temperament, and this is how I manage the team very well. And I also organized ChemCord, that is the annual fest back in my BTech. So these were the things. Then he asked one of the technical questions at the later part of the interview, that you have gone through, so in our CVs there are subjects also mentioned. So he asked me that you have gone through these subjects. So one of the subjects was transport phenomena. He asked me that what is the working principle of the cooling towers, and have you actually seen any cooling tower? So I told him that I have seen the cooling tower at GAIL Pata Oraya plant at the gas processing unit. Near that there were utilities section, and there were cooling towers there as well. So I told him that I have seen them, and the basic working principle is that there is both heat and mass transfer. So that occurs, and the water and air actually not only exchanges the sensible heat, but also the latent heat is also transferred. So and this is how it was there in the GAIL power plant. I told him the shape and all, the design, and then he asked me what's the main working principle. So that was one of the most important questions. And then I found that he wanted to ask about the humidity. So I told him the relative humidity is actually the driving force of the whole process in the cooling tower. And then he discussed about that in August there are more rains, so there is more humid, so the relative humidity will change. And in summers, in hot and summer weather, the humidity is very less, so the cooling tower will operate differently, and these things need to be taken into account. So lastly, he asked me that if I had any questions for him. So in the end of the interviews, mostly the recruiters ask that if you have a question for them. So till now they have asked the questions, but if you have a question for them, then you can just speak up. So mostly people say, no, I don't have any questions, goodbye, tata, bye bye, and I am selected. But people do get selected in that case. But it's better if you can ask questions, and relevant questions, not that how was my interview, am I selected, sir? No, not these types of questions. But what I asked is that I asked him clearly that what are the challenges in the solar cell manufacturing right now, and what is the technology that's going to be used to prepare purify the silicon. So there is a silicon, polysilicon is made, so it's a silicon purification method, and there are different types. So there is a Siemens process, then there is a fluidized bed process. So, and what are the different technologies, and what are they using, and what are the challenges? So basically he told me that the challenges is that the efficiency will drop if there is high impurities. So silicon needs to get pure from 99% till 99.9. So 7 times 9, that means total 9n. So 9n is the purity level. So 99.7 times 9 percentage from 99%. So this is the amount of purity that it needs. This is a very big challenge actually, if you can see the decimal places. So that's why this is one of the challenge of the polysilicon plant. And so he was actually asking me for the profile of polysilicon, this whole interview for that profile only. And also he told me that the energy that would be taken in the purification process would be later on recovered from the solar cells, because this whole process is actually quite energy extensive, and therefore you need a lot of OPEX and even CAPEX to actually sustain this whole project. So that's one of the challenges, that how would you minimize this energy. And then he told me that they are going with a Siemens reactor. So maybe in a separate video maybe I can discuss about how this thing is, the polysilicon plant details. But this was some of the questions that he answered and I asked at the end, so to give an impression that I am interested, which I was really interested in the company and its profile, because really it was solar is kind of a new thing to this whole industry, and it's really amazing to work with. So I asked him, and that's the final thing. So I told him to have a nice day. No more questions like, am I selected? What is that? Okay, just I told him, have a nice day, sir. Okay, and he told me that read few things, get to know about that solar. So that is how the interview went, and these were all the questions. So for the questions of the project, you don't have to go into the depth. Try to make your introduction in a particular way in which you are confident and in a very particular order. Like I first told him about my MTechs. So I'm doing MTech here, I'm the department rank 1. That created an impact. Then I told him that my BTech is also from chemical engineering, so that he got to know that I am a chemical engineer itself. I'm a person of chemical engineering only. Okay, and then I told him about that, how I was excited. So the whole gigafactory and everything, polysilicon excites me. This actually because there are a number of interviews to be conducted on a single day. So if everybody just tells them about themselves and that, so the interview kind of gets boring. So if you tell them that how you feel about the interview, why you have come, what's the purpose of you sitting in the interview, and why you are giving the interview. I know people are just want the job at all. Like in any case, they just want the job and salary. But the point is to actually also find some purpose of why you are sitting in the interview of that particular company only. So that you get from the description of the job, and that is how you need to keep it in that flow. Then I talked about the internships and everything I did. I did a lot of things, but your introduction shouldn't be longer than 2 minutes. Okay. So my interview experience was quite good, because it was more an interaction session rather than an interview, and that's what I like the best about it. A 45 minutes interview in which it just felt like 5 to 10 minutes, because we were quite engaged in exchanging each and other's questions and answers, and a good interactive session. And the result came out at around 7 or 8 p.m. in the evening. So I was really anxious what would happen, because my interview was the last one. So what happens is that if they had selected someone else, then maybe they were just time passing with me or something. So that's not a good word, but the main thing is that if you give your interview earliest, then chances are there, because they have limited vacancies. So out of the 7, 3 were finally selected. One of those is me, of course, and that's why I'm making this video. Anyways, so I hope this video really helped you. Please just like, share and subscribe, and yeah, just chillax, read about the company, the profile, and that is what matters the most. Prove the recruiter that you are capable for the recruitment, and why it should take you and not the others. So that's my only final advice to you. I hope this helped. Like, share and subscribe. Till then, bye bye.